Wayne Rooney or Harry Kane?
Player for player is close, but when you look at the careers and everything, you have to go Wayne Rooney. But if you're asking the question who's a better striker, as in you're going on to, you're building a team, you want someone to get you goals, I'll probably go Harry Kane.
Okay. So that's your opinion, right?
No, Rooney is better than Kane, but to make the conversation interesting, like instead of just saying yes, we all know Rooney is better than Kane. Let's add some nuances. As a striker to get you goals, perhaps I'll go Harry Kane.
Right. So Harry Kane and Thierry Henry.
I think Harry Kane loses all these battles. He has no trophies.
Don't say
Henry.
No, allow me roll it out.
I think Henry is better than Harry Kane in all areas, ability, honors, everything.
So it's that time of the year, international break. I mean, it's usually boring for most people when there's no club football. But this international break has served up some interesting bits. I mean, it's not exactly, like what club football would serve you, but
yeah, I'm happy, man.
Still some talking points.
It's rubbish right now. It's a national break.
It's rubbish because Liverpool is down bad.
I'm not even going to deny it. Liverpool can ruin my weekend this weekend. We're outside. You guys hit me in DMs. What's happening?
Right? Yes, talking about the international break. Interestingly, some EPL players have withdrawn from their national sides, and I feel like there is more to it, right? It's not just the illnesses that they are complaining about. It's not just it is a matter of I'm fighting for something at this club side. I mean, at club level, and I need to rest because we've spoken about the schedule for players, especially in the Premier League, over the past couple of months. It has been hectic. Cody Gakpo and Zen Botman, as Newcastle's defender, have pulled out of the Netherlands squad due to illness, and Marcus Rashford and Mason Mount have both pulled out of England for this Euro qualifiers games due to one reason or the other. So, in my opinion, I am very sure. Unfortunately, Rashford did pick up that injury, a slight knock, but it's good.
Yeah, I think we've had this problem for a while now, knowing that these players at the high level play way too many matches, and the international matches have only ramped up. There's the qualifiers, there's the Nations League, they moved the Euros a year apart. So in the last 2-3 years, they probably played more football than they've ever played or were expected to play. So yeah, you can't see why in these qualifiers, a lot of these games are friendly. These are the first qualifiers. These aren't games that there's not much riding on these games. So yeah, when there is the Premier League you're trying to ride for, you can see the Premier League managers, like if you play Football Manager, you can speak to the national team manager, say you don't want your player to go, say you want to play 45 minutes. And if the manager is being stubborn, then you just tell him that the player has a knock, you lie that you have a knock, and you're out.
Right. So yeah, that's interesting, and I feel like it's something we should, put out to the fans. What do you think about the sheer number of games that these players are engaged in, these days? As much as it's entertainment for us, these guys are still human beings. What do you think would be a viable solution to, fatigue? And I worry that many of these young players might not have long careers.
I feel the Nations League was pointless. With the World Cup and the Euros, we had enough. International football was fine, and yeah, we knew the international break, there wasn't much competition, but you could still see some players you liked, and the risk of injury wasn't as high because the players weren't playing as hard. Now I feel like they just run these players into the ground, and it's for money.
It's for money at the end of the day, and that's what makes it unfortunate for me. It's not really about They would say it's about the football. They'll say it's about deep down we all know that. So let us know your thoughts in the comment sections below. What would you suggest football management and the leadership can do about the sheer number of games that these players are engaged in? But talking about the sheer number of games that players are engaged in and the records that they tend to break, as a result of those number of games, Harry Kane has become England's top scorer. And I said something to Shobsy, and his comment just blew me. He made me laugh. It's actually a conversation, right? But let's just first give him his props, right?
Yeah, give him his props now.
Harry Kane has become the highest goal scorer for England.
And not only is he England's highest top goal scorer, he's done it in, so yeah, we say the sheer amount of games, but he's done it in 40 less matches than Wayne Rooney. So that does kind of balance it out. He's England captain, he's been top goal scorer at the World Cup. He's an all-time great for England, no doubt about it. This is one of the greatest ever strikers. And when you consider the fact that most English strikers do anything for England, Shearer did anything for England, Rooney didn't, yes, Bobby Charlton did. So Harry Kane has to be in the conversation for England's greatest ever striker.
Yeah, true, very true. And I feel like
And you got them to it. There's a Euro final. Was there a World Cup final in there as well? Did you get to World Cup?
No, they didn't get to World Cup finals. It was semi-finals, the Euro final that they lost against.
So England have
Italy.
actually had their best tournament performances under Harry Kane.
Really?
Yeah, think about it. Rooney didn't get to any semi-finals or finals. Like England never went that far. Like that's why it's coming home as being able to build so much.
They won one.
Yeah, in 1960s. Well. So since then, England have never gone this far. Whether we like it or not, Gareth Southgate is one of England's most successful managers. Whether or not we rate him.
Right, and of course, I'm sure if you watch Sangaloo regularly, you would know that we do not rate
exactly, but the facts are the facts. He's gotten England further than almost any other manager in the history.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And that brings me to my next, my next set of questions, which, which raised that that comment. It felt like I had an agenda against Harry Kane, but before.
Then I want to ask you guys who's better, Henry or Harry Kane. What question is that? Just say you Tottenham and their fans.
So these are the things, right? These are the conversations that we need to have because we're talking about Harry Kane and his pedigree as a striker. Personally, he passes the eye test, right? The kinds of goals he scores, the way he comes up for his side, for either Tottenham or for England, the way he plays, you would appreciate him. But when you put him side by side with some of the bigger names in the sport, he flatters to deceive. So especially considering the lack of trophies.
I think that's the only thing that's the problem. I think if you take away the trophies, as a striker, there's nothing Harry Kane cannot do. Harry Kane is one of the most lethal strikers I've ever seen. He's going to finish, and he's arguably going to finish as the Premier League's top goal scorer of all time.
And he's beginning to show that he does have crazy passing range.
He's beginning. He's been doing this for 2-3 years. He's topped the league in assists before. His passing is exceptional. His left foot is exceptional. His right foot is exceptional. He's exceptional in the air. He's exceptional from set pieces. He's strong. He's everything you want in a striker. So yes, he hasn't won the trophies, but I feel like that's a Tottenham thing. Tottenham just do not win trophies. But if you put Harry Kane in a vacuum as a striker, I'm sorry, I haven't seen 5 better strikers in the Premier League than Harry Kane. The guy is perfect. He's guaranteed 20 goals in the Premier League. Only a few strikers have gone on those runs where they scored 20 goals for like 5 seasons in a row. He scored 29 in 30 Premier League games once. So if you put him side by side to these players in a vacuum, like his goals to game is just as likely to get you a goal as Thierry Henry. Unfortunately, he hasn't played in the top side. He's had to carry Tottenham, and Tottenham, they're just cursed. Like I don't even know how they have.
I don't think Tottenham just had the wrong idea. They just had the wrong idea.
There's no reason that Tottenham have not even been able to scrape a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup. If you consider the fact that Leicester won the Premier League, but even since then, Leicester have not won an FA Cup. So why should they rather have a Premier League and an FA Cup and Kane
and Harry Kane has none? Yeah.
It's just not. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So the questions that I put to Shopsy were putting the players side by side, Wayne Rooney or Harry Kane.
Player for player is close, but when you look at the careers and everything, you have to go Wayne Rooney. But if you're asking the question who's a better striker, as in you're building a team, you want someone to get you goals, I'll probably go Harry Kane.
Okay. So that's your opinion, right?
No, Rooney is better than Kane, but to make the conversation interesting, like instead of just saying yes, we all know Rooney is better than Kane. Let's add some nuances. As a striker to get you goals, perhaps I'll go Harry Kane.
Right, and that's also out there for the fans as well. Let us know what you think about these comparisons. So Harry Kane and Thierry Henry.
I think Harry Kane loses all these battles. He has no trophies.
Don't say Henry. No, allow me roll it out.
I think Henry is better than Harry Kane in all. In all areas, ability, honors, everything.
Okay, Didier Drogba or Harry Kane?
I think Harry Kane is a better footballer. Drogba is just so much clutcher and comes up in big moments that when you look at it all together, you go Drogba because he 1,000,000,000% had a better career than Harry Kane. It's never going to happen.
Okay, and then Michael Owen or Harry Kane?
That one is tricky. Because
we did not really watch Owen.
I mean, the reason I support Liverpool is because I watched Michael Owen score a brace against Arsenal in the FA Cup final. So Owen was my favorite player and probably got me into football and Liverpool. But Harry Kane he's a better player than Owen. Like Harry Kane, I feel like if you look at strikers and their ability as players, it doesn't get much better than Harry Kane. Like this is crazy. He's about to be the record scorer for everything.
So let me tell you something interesting that I did, right? So I was compiling this list and I was looking at, let's say, the best 4 sides in the Premier League beyond any other of doubt, right? Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal, right? So I picked who I would say maybe are their best strikers. And then I intentionally did not select Suarez for Liverpool,
Right.
and I decided to use Owen as the comparison because
Owen is not even like, you can go Suarez, you can go Fowler, then maybe
Robbie Fowler. I mean, Robbie Fowler is a
yeah, you can go Salah if you want to call him a striker. But Owen has the honors. He won a Ballon d'Or,
and he was the one that was really a 9. Like,
yeah.
Of all Salah,
Kane
Suarez.
is a better player. I think I'll go Harry Kane. When it's all said and done, if Harry Kane is England's all-time top goal scorer, I think his
And Owen
legacy,
actually played in that England side.
yeah, I think his legacy. Yeah, Kane and Owen is a very tough one. I guess we'll have to see how it plans out for the rest of their careers. But yeah, that's a tough one.
Definitely, that's interesting. But talking about players who have, bagged crazy records, Cristiano Ronaldo is still doing bits. Interestingly, we're seeing like a new phase, a new era for Portugal. They changed their manager. We're going to see a different Portugal, and I believe that Portugal will be a different proposition entirely compared to what they were before. You consider them defensive and like transition, and stuff like that. But they look like they'll start to play very interesting football with the kinds of talent that they have. Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, those defenders. Gonzalo Ramos is
The talent. They have a young generation.
So we're very likely to see a new, Portugal side with more craziness. But Cristiano Ronaldo is still doing bits. He's become the first player to score 100 competitive goals in men's international football ever.
That is impressive. Shout out Cristiano Ronaldo. Scoring goals is just what he does.
Just what he does.
Yeah, chasing records. That his hunger for more is what is unparalleled. He's going to keep scoring goals until he can't. You have to really motivate.
Right.
Yeah. But speaking about Ronaldo, his rival Messi also had a very big night last night, becoming the fastest player in football history to score 800 career goals. He also bagged, it's funny the way they follow each other. So Ronaldo scored his 100th goal. Last night, Messi scored his 99th goal in international football. And yeah, they're still doing what they've been doing since we were children.
These two guys are crazy. And I remember having a conversation with somebody just yesterday about, and it sort of tied into, Kylian Mbappe being announced as team captain for France.
Yeah,
and we're saying, it feels like the French Football Association and like the French public, the media, everybody thinks that Mbappe might be maybe the next Ronaldo or Messi. And I was like, no, the gap is too wide. I don't believe Mbappe should have been given that captain armband just yet. In my opinion, he's 24 years old. There's a lot of talent.
I think he should have.
There's a lot of talent in the French side. There's a lot of experience in that French side as well. There's Giroud, there's Griezmann, there's Varane, there's Lloris. Lloris also.
But I see. So let me give you the flip side to the argument. Yes, these players are experienced, but Giroud, Lloris, maybe even Griezmann, Varane, Euro 2024 could be their last major tournament. So I think you have to think about the future there. And there's something, after that World Cup final, you can't tell me anybody else but Mbappe is the leader of that squad. The way he spoke to them on the pitch, and then when you saw the tape of them in the dressing room after, it wasn't Mbappe shouting at them saying, yo, this is a World Cup final, we only get one opportunity to do so. Even if you don't, sometimes you have to give these people the leadership when they're young so they can lead. So like now, Mbappe can be France captain for 10 years now. Yeah. So yeah, giving him the keys now, why not? These guys are going to retire soon, and international football has always been about the best players. Like Neymar had the armband for a period, Messi had this, Ronaldo had it. Like
okay, that's an interesting thing. But talking about retirements, right? One of the biggest names in world football, in my opinion, one of the best players to ever play for Arsenal, Mesut Ozil, announced his retirement. It was just unfortunate that Ozil left Arsenal, the way it happened.
Yeah, under a dark cloud.
But you cannot overemphasize his importance to that Arsenal side.
It's not even just
with Real Madrid and then with Arsenal.
And then that's the thing, people don't talk about Ozil and they're like, okay, he had a good time at Arsenal, and then with Real Madrid, he got a lot of assists, but playing with Cristiano Ronaldo. But that ignores the fact that when Ozil was at Werder Bremen, this guy was racking up 17 league assists since then. Ozil is the type, pretty much throughout Ozil's prime, he was giving you over 20 assists a season. And that is not normal. Think about that as a striker. There's a striker giving you 20 goals a season. That's a world-class striker. And Real Madrid, he had a season where he got 30 assists, a season where he got 29 assists. If you look at the record for players having the most assists in a season, Ozil appears twice on that list, on the top 8 list. So, all time, Ozil, at what he did, I don't think there've ever been many players able to thread lines, have that sort of vision, waiting passes in behind as Mesut Ozil.
Yeah, definitely wish Ozil the best of luck.
And I actually had, speaking about Ozil, I don't know if we can ask the crowd this because I had some serious debates all through the weekend, and it was comparing Mesut Ozil and Riyad Mahrez, and it got very intense. And yeah, it seems like a lot of people's initial reaction was obviously it's Ozil, but when the conversation went on, it looked like Mahrez had more of an argument. I stick with Ozil. I'm taking my gun. I think it's Ozil, but I think it's a good conversation. It's one that we can ask the fans.
Yeah. So
Messi, Ozil or
definitely,
Mahrez?
in my opinion, right, Ozil takes it hands down. But of course, let's put that out to the fans
But
out
they
there.
start telling stuff about winning with Algeria, winning with Leicester, all these other things. Could Ozil have done them? But me, when I look at the things Ozil did on the football pitch, only Zidane was doing them, bro.
Right. So yeah, let's put that out there to the fans. Let us know who you think was a better playmaker and a better player all round. Mesut Ozil or Riyad Mahrez. We'll see how Riyad Mahrez's career, pans out, till he retires. But of course, that's a wonderful conversation to have. Let's quickly move on to something interesting that came out just yesterday, right? Leading up or coming off the back of Barcelona being investigated by Spanish football, authorities in Spain for having paid the former vice president of the Spanish Referees Association some money, right? UEFA have come out to say that they will also conduct investigation. I remember when the news first broke and we spoke about it, we talked about the investigation extending to Europe. That it probably isn't just in Spain, right?
And Europe is where we have looked at Barcelona, like it's been
and
by the
suspected them. Yes. So that's going to be very interesting.
You mentioned Chelsea,
Chelsea, Arsenal. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out. I do hope that Barcelona get properly. I do hope that this backlash really gets at Barcelona because we need to try and clean up the sport one way or another.
I hope it's investigated thoroughly, and if there is malpractice, I hope the right punishment is faced. But as someone who has been on the Barca persuasion most of my life, I hope it's not true and it can be swept up.
Okay.
But no, I don't want to. If it's real, then it should be tackled.
It should be taken.
But I hope it can be investigated and proven that yes, it is what they say it was. It was CSR or whatever invested.
Okay, that's interesting. And to quickly wrap things up in boxing, of course, it is no news that the Usyk versus Fury heavyweight, what's that thing called? It's supposed to merge all the belts and all of that. Has been called off. Usyk versus Fury has been called off, and this is me with a personal agenda. I believe that Fury is a coward.
He's not personal with you, bro.
I believe Fury is a coward. He ran away from fighting Deontay Wilder. He ran away from fighting Anthony Joshua. And he's now running away from fighting.
That's like Usyk was on his knees begging him for his fight.
Literally.
Everything. I take 60%.
Literally.
I take 70%. He still doesn't want to fight. And I feel like things like this have to count against Tyson Fury's legacy. Because this is boxing. Like, it's combat sports about fighting. You can say it's toxic, but if a guy wants to fight, you beat that guy.
Stand up and fight.
That's what it is. So, for me, when looking at the all-time great heavyweights, this trend counts against Tyson.
Counts against Fury for sure.
It has to.
For a fact. And of course, seeing as that fight has been cancelled, Deontay Wilder's manager has come out to say that if the opportunity comes up for Wilder to fight Usyk, they will take it. And I believe that Deontay Wilder is also one fighter who, at a point, he sort of looked like he wanted to dodge and, but he did take those fights. He took the Fury fight, and I commend him for that.
They want to dodge. When you're on top, you want to dodge. But when you're on the bottom,
you want to face everybody, right?
Because these big ticket fights aren't coming like they used to.
Right.
But Deontay Wilder versus Usyk will be a very entertaining fight. They both had big fights recently. Different styles of boxing, but both very entertaining. Knockout punch versus speed. It should be a good fight.
And in my opinion,
Fury should get out there on the box.
I think so too. And unfortunately, this is speculation, but I've been seeing videos that might point to Fury going back to abusing drugs. Yes. So that might be. That might be something. We of course we know Fury's career. We know the trajectory.
He struggled with also.
What he struggled with and everything, and it's starting to look like maybe he's back using it again. And it's just unfortunate because he was somebody that you kind of rooted for.
He's one of the most gifted boxers of all time.
I think so.
This has to count against him.
I think so too. Of course, Deontay Wilder versus Usyk will be a very, very interesting one. In my opinion, I can already call it for Usyk. Usyk is a more talented fighter, and I believe that he's a more technical fighter.
Wilder just wants to
It's just a puncher, right? And I think that's one of the things that counted for Anthony Joshua in my books against Deontay Wilder. I believe Anthony Joshua had more boxing IQ, a better boxing IQ than Deontay Wilder, and I believe that was what Anthony Joshua had over Wilder. And if Usyk decides, or if this fight does happen, I believe that Usyk has a lot more, way more intelligence.
It looks like a complete
showed to have it even more than Anthony Joshua, beating Anthony Joshua. So it's it doesn't look likely, in my opinion, that Deontay Wilder would win. But it will make it very
But when you
interesting.
have that knockout punch, like
Right.
everybody has a plan, but if he hits you
Once
one
he
of
hits you
those,
once, that's it. Of course, it's an interesting thing to look forward to. In mixed martial art as well, there's the Pereira versus Israel Adesanya fight coming up in April next month. I can't wait for that to happen. I do hope Adesanya, Israel Adesanya wins, but
we'll see how it goes down.
yeah, I'm thinking Pereira might just take it.
Don't bring those bad vibes, though.
All right, that's definitely an episode. We'll see you guys in the next one. Of course, when we come back, it will still be international break, and there'll be more to talk about. There's the AFCON qualifiers. Nigeria Super Eagles are in a good spot, top of the group. They played 2. The bottom 2 teams have played 3, but Nigeria is still first. And yeah, it looks interesting.
Yes, sir. That's an episode. Thanks for rocking with us.
Catch you guys in the next one.
Like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. All that.
Catch you guys in the next one.